Ladies and gentlemen, we may have $30,000 in credit card debt. We may have tons of injuries, but you know what we do have? We have a lot of heart, and we're back this time with the National League to come and show you our preseason predictions. I'm Aiden. We're back. The whole band's back together. We got Tim Lowry, Brendan, we got Andrew, we got JR. The whole band's back together. Guys, it's great to be back. We did the AL yesterday. We got the NL today. Gentlemen, I was going to go with a bunch of different pleasantries and stuff, but you know what? In the interest of time, I'd say let's just jump right into it. Brendan, I'll give you the floor, and let's get started because we got this. We got hot seat. We got playoff predictions to get to, and we got who knows what else is going to come up today.
Playoffs? Playoffs? We're trying to win a game.
Playoffs. $30,000 in credit card.
You know what? It's not so often that this many cool people can be together. Frankly, we are testing what the universe can actually handle, so we really do need to get a start on this thing, so we don't, cause any potential ruptures in the space-time continuum.
Yeah.
What we're going to be doing is we are going to be covering the entire National League in thereabouts 51 minutes, 3 minutes per team. We're going to go division by division, starting with the East, then the Central, then the West. After each division, we are going to pick the standings of that division. Once we are wrapped up, we will give you our playoff preview, but that'll be in a separate video. So let's go ahead and get going.
Before we get started, I do have one thing to throw in there while Brendan goes and looks for whatever. I did get a call from Vegas. Vegas, as our resident degenerate, Vegas has the over-under of times we go over the 3 minutes set at 6.5. For today's episode.
That's a fucking Khaleesi ass bet right there because you are going to go over.
Hey, I'm not saying me. No, I'm not taking a bet. I am saying that's what Vegas has the over-under set at. The people at home can take the over-under how they please.
All right, well, I'm going to be aggressive with the dart gun. And Tim, you need to be aggressive with the mute button. When I use the dart gun, Tim, I need you to mute him.
I love how you're coming at me. You and I had the same amount of overages in yesterday's episode.
I'm placing my bet.
That sounds fake.
I had one. I know that.
All right, let's get going.
You had two. I had two.
All right. Like yesterday, I'm going to lead us off. Brendan with the New York Mets. New York Mets had a pretty disappointing season last year, especially coming off their 2031 campaign. I like a lot of the moves they made in free agency, bringing in veteran Danny Diaz, bringing in a pitcher like Shota Imanaga. I feel like what they've done is they've raised the floor on this team. The ceiling is not much higher than it previously was, but the floor is higher. In my mind, the NL East is a competition to see who could be number 2. The Mets should be in the driver's seat for that competition. I understand that they have the Braves in their way, but I like what they've done. The combination of Kim and Anderson on offense is freaking awesome. And like I said, pitching, if the pitching can just be fine, this team can go a long way. So my question for you guys is, do you think the Mets did enough to counteract the failure of last season? And do you think that the additions are going to pay off for them?
Their offense is very good, and I really like their offense, like you mentioned. Their biggest question mark is, like we talked about with a few different teams yesterday, their bullpen is scary bad. Mm-hmm. Their rotation is very good. I love their rotation, to be honest with you. I'd say top 10 rotation for sure in eMLB. The question mark definitely comes with the bullpen. But if you have your starters throwing 7 innings, you can get away with a rough bullpen. I think they're going to score a lot of runs. Their rotation's not going to give up a lot of runs. But I think their floor is higher, like you said. Ceiling not very high, but their bullpen leaves a lot to be desired. That can they close out games in the end?
I'm not sure about that top 10 rotation statement, but
I don't think the Mets were as bad as they showed out last year. It's kind of like the Marlins situation 2 years, the last 2 seasons. I think the Mets, I think they'll get some bounce back right away. The improvements they've made actually move them closer to first than barely locking in 2.
I was going to say the exact same thing, Tim. I was going to say that I think they underperformed last year. So they're definitely going to be better this year than they were last year, closer to what we thought they were going to be. We thought they were going to be a wild card contender, and I think they still have that capability. That is still their ceiling. I just think they didn't do enough to come in second.
How good, by the way, is Mike? Not to address that point, I'm sorry, but I have to get it in. How good is Mike Marshall going to be?
I think that's the X factor for them. If he can get ready quickly and be the guy like it looks like he will eventually, that can bump their timeline up for sure.
I worry about his stamina and his longevity.
You got the dart gun right to the face.
That wasn't over. I was right at the buzzer.
I was being preemptive. You watch this. You watch Heat the Call. You know what I'm talking about. The dark
umpire's calling him safe.
All right, Andrew with the Atlanta Braves.
All right, so I mentioned that I don't think the New York Mets had done enough to come in second because I believe the Braves have actually taken a step forward going into this season compared to where they were last year. They did not lose a lot. Now, before I really get into what they're going to do this year, I have to point out Moose was my vote for GM of the year. He turned around a team that had gone, 2 or 3 straight seasons of 50-win seasons and turned into a playoff contender. And that was extremely impressive by the team. And I think they are set up to keep that going. I don't think it was a fluke. They have Kenny Lindbergh, they have Booty Wamper, they have they have a bunch of powers that are going to have impact in the lineup. And they added to that this offseason. Their big acquisition was Joe Diggs. Adding that guy to the rotation is huge, and it's got to hurt for the Washington seeing Joe Diggs, the longtime staple in that Nationals rotation, going to a division rival. But that was a huge addition to the rotation. They also did add Buster Bluth. Now, I know Aiden and I have gone back and forth about the whole impact bat situation. He is a great addition to the team, but you did not add him to because of his bat, because you have players like Powers, Booty Wamper, Lindbergh. Franco can sometimes hit well. Granados as well can hit. They still have a little bit of deficient. I'm worried about their shortstop position. Maybe Tovar can take over at short, and maybe they could use an improvement in the outfield. But I think they're they're riding the momentum off of last season and showing that it wasn't a fluke.
I think with you mentioning, I want to get into Bluth for a second. Yes, Bluth, like you said, they didn't sign him for his bat. You're right. That does not mean he is not going to be an impact in that lineup. There are two different things that you're stating there. Just because you don't sign someone for their bat does not mean he is not going to be an impact in that lineup. He is going to provide a good above average offensive season for them, which he has shown in 2 of the last 3 years. Just because last season was not an above average offensive season, he still clubbed over 20 home runs for the team and was just a tick below league average in OPS plus, which is the main factor you were using to say he was a below average offensive guy. Now, I do want to talk about the pitching staff is great. And the question I want to pose to you guys, what hurts more? Washington seeing Joe Diggs in an Atlanta Braves jersey, or Anaheim seeing Mike Trout in a Minnesota Twins jersey?
Washington
Diggs for sure.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. He has much more left in the tank.
We might as well start calling him the Atlanta Key-Men because they have the power. I thought of that like a minute ago, and I knew I had to close out the segment with that. All right, Jared, why don't you go ahead and get us with the Miami Marlins?
Yeah, the Marlins. This is the team that saw some giant transformation in the offseason, moving on from Red Dit and EVC. And, it's kind of sad in a lot of ways that, really from having those two really star players, you really only ended up with one playoff appearance during that time that they were there. Now, granted, they pulled in a lot of talent in that deal. They've got a lot of good young starting pitching right now. I mean, really, they are loaded with young starting pitching to the point that I have to think that Flying is going to use some of that to trade for bats. Like there just is not room enough for all of those guys as they develop to make an impact. Yamamoto is going to come in and be kind of the ace right now. But you got Blanco who's coming up. You got Eastman that is going to be ready soon. I mean, there's just a lot of pitching there that is going to be dangerous coming up. And if they make the right decisions on who to keep and who to move for some bats, they could reload in a real hurry there.
Yeah, they're going to need to, because as constructed, this lineup might be the worst in all of baseball.
It's bad right now. Yeah.
It's like almost Minnesota Twins bad.
I'm also still putting a big question mark around the decision to sign Yamamoto to the contract that he did. That was, you trade away Ditt and EVC and you add in Yamamoto. Basically around the same money you were paying the other two. I just don't think that was a smart move.
But again, like we talked about in the offseason episode, he front-loaded it. It makes a lot of sense because when he becomes cheap and affordable is when you're going to have to start paying some of those other guys and when you're going to become competitive. So it makes a lot more sense. Also, I'm interested. Andrew Abbott, right now, he's got him listed as his closer. Is he going to use him as that? He could be a very good starter. Pitched over 160 innings for Miami last year. It'll be interesting to see what sort of role Abbott's going to play for this Miami team because he could be a very dominant closer or a good starter as a lefty for him out of the rotation. So going to be interested to see how he utilizes a guy like Abbott. I think what you're saying, JR, and the fact that he's got to trade for some bats is true. Brendan, making your point that this is Minnesota Twins bad. You literally just yesterday praised my team. So
I just wanted to dunk on you. I know
you did, but I had to say something about it.
By the way,
I think that Dick is not the – I think that over there, Flying's got the great start of something. Question is going to be, is he going to go down a path like Minerva where he's constantly rebuilding, or is he going to do something like Atlanta where he's going to start building up to do something in the NL East where he's going to contend for the top in the next 3 years?
By the way, Yamamoto's contract isn't affordable until he's 33 or 34.
But he's dealable.
At that point, yeah.
No.
Dark gun going off. We're moving on. All right. Aiden, the Montreal Expos.
L'Expo de Montreal. I love the Montreal Expos, and maybe that's just because of who their GM is. But I've got a soft spot for Montreal. Montreal, I really like what they can do with their starting rotation to start. You've got Chad Cuff, Dwight Kaida, Mitchell Stone leading that line. For them, you got a young guy and John Weilerway. Wow. Why worlding?
Will
Sorry,
Wording.
that was a little hard for me to say.
No, it's
yeah, exactly.
Will Wording.
Will Wording. Exactly.
English is hard.
It is. It is a tough language. I really like what they've got on the pitching side of things. Their bullpen is all right. You've got guys like Jorge Allman and Delbert Siri as well, and at the back end of that bullpen. You look at the batting order, there's some things that you question. You've got a guy like Glenn Streamer, who obviously is one of their top guys. You got an older Juan Soto to be your DH. Ted Boyd is a great left fielder for them, who is still coming into his own in his age 25 season this year. Smitty Lyon has proved to be consistent. I won't say an impact bat, but is a consistent bat. Ethan Moyer in left field, a great defender, giving you shades of a Dominic Aguilera in the way he plays defense. But I think one of the great things about Montreal is how they are continuing to grow. I don't think they're in that upper echelon of the NL East, but I do believe that they are continuing to grow as an expansion team at a better rate than the Stags, even though they came in around the same time.
I got 2 points I got to fit in here real quick. First of all, can we talk about Malcus Molina's face gen real quick? Because it's been a while since I've looked at it. It is terrifying. Tim, please add that in post to this part of the video. Second, I was a really big proponent of the league shitter finishing much better last year than he ended up finishing. Maybe because of that, I'm a little bit more down on this team, but I don't know if they're gonna. I like it. It feels profoundly average to me. The lineup in the rotation.
By the way, Aiden, if you don't,
I just
say
don't see
Smitty
what
Line
gets
is an
them out of the
impact bat,
bottom
you
half.
can't call Buster Bluth an impact bat. So just saying.
Huh?
If you can't call Smitty Line an impact bat, you can't call Buster Bluth an impact bat. Smitty Line had better stats than Bluth.
Last year, yes. But Buster Bluth
Oh
is more
my
of an
God.
impact back than Smitty Line. Andrew, take your recency
This is
bias
the
and
last
shove it up your
conversation
ass.
about Buster Bluth.
If y'all, I'm gonna shoot so many trank darts into y'all. You're gonna be able to finish the rest of the episode. Anyone else want to close it out? Anyone else want to comment on GT being the quote unquote league shitter?
GT doesn't
No, but
deserve
he's
the
got a
hate he
great
gets. I
center
love you,
fielder in
GT.
his.
I love GT too. I just thought that was too funny not to mention. All right.
Montreal's a good team.
All right, we got Tim. Why don't you go ahead and talk about the Philadelphia Phillies?
This is going to be actually a little piece about Philadelphia, Toronto, anybody else who's built up and has not been able to win a World Series. I get that that's the ultimate thing, but there are probably 3, maybe 4 other teams that if you were willing to trade them, the Philly organization for theirs, they'd leave. They'd take Philly. The results, maybe not go to Philly. This is, for my money, the best organization in eMLB, hands down. Playoffs are a crapshoot. This team scored a half run more than anybody in either league, and their pitching was better than that, in my mind. And Philly is making adjustments. Now, they weren't as busy in the trade block in the offseason, primarily because, Hammer was out of the country. I don't think there was any philosophical thing going on there. I don't think there's any financial thing going on there. Circumstance. They're still head and shoulders above anybody else in this division. And one day they are going to win a World Series.
For my money, pound for pound, the best general manager in eMLB.
Yes.
And I ask you all to remember where the Phillies were before he took them over.
This is fair.
Now, look at the.
Go ahead, Jared.
I was just going to say, look at the last 6 years, their win total: 101, 102, 99, 99, 106, 111.
Yeah.
Now, I will ask Tim, though, when you say the best, hands down the best organization in eMLB, are you including their minor league system?
What minor league system?
Well, yeah, because they, to their credit, they have used the minor league system to feed what the status of their major league club is now.
Exactly.
They just essentially drained all that they had to invest everything into the major league team.
I think that's maybe what he means.
Right.
They've done it the last 3 years, and I think it's worth it because if things start to regress and they need to shop some veterans, we learned that with Miami. That can flip in a second.
True. And I will say financially, we're basically saying them and Toronto in the AL are the 2 teams that are kind of doing the same thing. I say Phillies have a little bit more, a little less of a financial crisis in a few years than Toronto does.
Yes.
Sorry, Aiden. Oh, he's getting ready to say. All right.
I was
Aiden,
ready to bang him, but
due to having 6 teams in a division and there being only 5 of us, we have an orphan team. That orphan team is the Washington Nationals. That team will be covered by Aiden. Aiden, your time starts now.
the top 5 hitters in this Washington Nationals lineup are good. Just Chris Sabo Jr., Mark Diggs, Jose Anthony, Chris Green, just in case. Good hitters. You don't argue with that. You've also got a guy in Luis Castellanos who's got some pop for you. He also hit 289 last year in his first full season at the big league level, gave you 18 home runs. Philip Milby, who's been there forever, going to give you steady defense in left field. Trey Sweeney, another young bat who's going to get his first full season at the big league levels. Pete Wagner over there in center field. really just a guy to be there because you don't have another guy to play center. On the pitching side of things, you don't have a lot. You got Brett Justice and Serge Arande, and that's
Sergey
Arande, and
Andrade.
and
then
he's
another-
and he's pretty good.
Yeah,
he's pretty
yeah.
good. And you got Pedro Gomez and Sean Clisby and Jaheim Vaughn in the bullpen, and that's about it. You don't have a lot. This Washington Nationals team is setting up for a longer term rebuild. I'll be interested to see how Pirate is going to do with himself. This is the first time we're really seeing Pirate have to enter this rebuild stage. He was one of those teams that you expected always to be around the playoffs. Now, he does have some really nice pitching prospects. You've got Jorge Rivas, his top pitching prospect, a really solid righty. You've got Juan Barco, who's a really good first base prospect who's going to have some power. And then you've also got a guy in Jim Anthony who I really like as an outfield prospect. But it'll be interesting to see what Pirate decides to do here.
I got to say, this team's had one playoff appearance since their World Series championship in 2025. And that was 2028. That was 4 seasons ago. The rebuild's already been underway since then.
I'll just say, well, my question to you guys is, how long until we start seeing the Washington Nationals fire sale for their longtime veterans such as Jose Anthony, Justin Case, Mark Diggs?
This year.
Think this year? You think this trade deadline?
Yes.
That's going to be interesting to watch, to see teams going after the Nationals and their established veterans that have been there since the World Series.
I don't know. I don't know that that's going to be the case. I'll be honest with you. I think come 2035, this starting rotation is one of the 5 best in the league.
Bold prediction.
Okay, I like that. All right, I'm going to interject with a brief point before we go on there. Sean Clisby is the Forrest Gump of the MLB right now. He just shows up in random places.
Out.
Yeah, this ain't really relevant to the team discussion. I just noticed that Sean Clisby has been on like a million different teams. He just keeps showing up.
Jackson.
All right, let's pick that division. All right, we normally will go in the order in which I pick teams. However, I have decided that Aiden will go last since he has his wrestling comps. So instead, I'm just going to pick a random order. Andrew, why don't you go first?
All right. Well, get it out of the way. I've got the Phillies at the top. Second place. I mentioned earlier, I didn't think the Mets did enough to get that second place spot away from the Braves. Mets in third. Expos in fourth, Nationals fifth, and Marlins sixth.
Okay, I will go next. I also have Phillies at the top. I imagine we're all probably going to be doing that. Give me Mets, Braves in that order.
Oops. Wrong cell. There we go.
Give me the Expos, Nationals, Mets.
Nationals, Marlins.
Nationals, Marlins. Sorry, excuse me. Tim, go ahead and fill yours in.
Exact same as you, actually. Phillies, Mets, Braves, Expos.
This is what happens when the 2 smartest people in the room just, we agree. We understand things. JR. JR, you go.
Yeah, Phillies definitely. I do have the Braves in second place. I definitely like that rotation a lot better than the Mets. Mets go third. I'm gonna put. I'm really debating. I will go ahead and put Expos at fourth, and then I'm gonna go Marlins, Nats.
All right, Aiden, close us out.
All right. Up at the top is the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, we talk about their struggles to win a World Series. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. They are Finn Balor. Always at the top, always around, but can never win the championship. Still bugs me. Finn Balor deserves a push. Give Finn Balor a push. Shout out to WWE. Number 2 spot. Denbrew, I've got faith in you. Give me the Mets, baby. Let's go Mets. Hit a home run. Let's go Mets, baby. Hit a home run.
Let's go Mets, baby. It's all about the Mets, Spider-Man.
It's all about the Mets, Spider-Man. The Mets, to me, just feel like that, that guy you can count on, a guy who can deliver, but is also up and coming at the same time, but a guy who's been around for a little bit while also up and coming, sort of like a double take. Give me Dominic Mysterio vibes, sort of, in a sense. Dirty Dominic Mysterio. In the 3 spot, give me the Braves. Young, up and coming, with a lot of power, a lot of fun, and a lot to watch, who should be contending for a title soon. They're Rhea Ripley. In the number 4 spot, give me Les Expos de Montreal. They are still not at the top, but I believe they should be getting a push. They are Santos Escobar. Then, at the 5 spot, I'm going to go ahead and give the Washington Nationals, a team who has been towards the top, now on a decline, hanging around the mid-card, but you could call on them to come to the top if you need them to. They are Natalia Natty Neidhart. Then the Marlins at the bottom, still some years away, a lot of young talent, but they show a lot of promise right now. Question is, how long will it take them? But they've got a lot of fun to do with them. They remind me of Trick Williams and Whoop That Trick, baby.
All right. Before we move off of the NL East, I have a question. Do you guys think that the NL East has the highest floor of any of the divisions? Like, is their worst team the best of the worst?
No.
Okay.
Not even closest. I think their worst team is the worst of the worst, actually.
Really?
I wouldn't go that far.
The Rays exist.
Oh, no.
I think their worst team is the worst of the worst, in my opinion. I think Miami is worse than Tampa.
All right, well, D-Block
Not
is
by
picking
much.
number 1 next year, or the year after next. Book it. Or it would be next year's draft. Regardless, they finished worst record. Book it.
Whenever.
Prediction now.
All right.
I should have saved that as a hot seat question.
Yeah, you
You
should
really
have,
should've.
dummy.
I'm not usually in charge of that, so it's not on my
Yeah.
mind.
All right. Moving on. The National League Central, and I'm going to change it up. Rule change. Joke for Andrew. Instead of me going first, we all collectively have an orphan team for the NL Central. That is the expansion San Antonio Missions. Aiden, why don't you lead us off talking about our expansion team in the National League Central?
So our expansion team in the NL Central with the San Antonio Missions, run by the worst GM in eMLB in Cody Koshin. I guarantee you within the first 5 games, there will be at least one suspension on his team with a pitcher from throwing at someone's head. Who he throws at will still yet to be determined. But in all seriousness, Cody went the route of trading and signing a lot more veterans. He's got some interesting names. However, like I mentioned in yesterday's episode, I do like what Eddie did with his team a little more. I think Eddie's team is a little more compete now. Cody is a little more compete in the future. They do have some nice names. You got guys like Jacob Schmidt, Bob Trueblood's on your team over there. You got Taco Existential. You have CJ Abrams, who's a little bit older, but is going to give you good defense. They signed Papa Vaz to a small deal. You got a guy like Brenton Doyle as well. Brennan Davis, who's going to provide some pop in the middle of that lineup. The question is, what are they going to do? They had a lot of international signing pool money that they signed a lot of international guys to give themselves a good leg up with some prospects. They've got a pretty decent farm system. Question is, how long is it going to take them to get there? And how long is it going to take this team to become relevant?
Probably a few years. Christopher
Long
Sanchez.
time.
Christopher Sanchez, by the way, might go down as the greatest expansion pick of all time. Like, that dude could be a bona fide 2-3 starter on most teams and would be like a mediocre team's ace, like at its absolute ceiling. I love that pick.
Yeah. I'm wondering why Chicago left him unprotected.
Yeah, number 44 prospect in the MLB according to OSA. I don't know the exact backfield's media specifics, but I'm sure Tim can fill that in on the edit.
Yeah, at some point.
He's also Cody did draft a lot of players that have a potential for re-rate in the future. He also drafted a lot of players that he knew from his time on other GMing other teams, such as Papa Vaz, Taco Existential, were both members of his Pirates in the past.
Jared Hoyle
as well. So he's getting players that he knows. He's also getting real life players that he is taking that invest for the future approach to the expansion draft. So that means that he may be taking longer to be competitive, but to be honest, NL Central is a little bit easier to compete in than some of the other divisions with the way some of the teams are now. So it's probably the smart play with the Missions to kind of go for that long-term approach.
I love to see the Cody Andrew rivalry restored.
I can't get away from him.
Timeout.
Taken.
Calling timeout. We have breaking news real quick.
Rule change.
We just talked about the Montreal Expos. A sim is going down as we record this.
Uh-oh.
The guy who is slated to be their number 5 pitcher and a prospect in the eMLB, Danny Herring, has been diagnosed with a torn rotator cuff, and it is a career-ending injury.
Whoa, no.
There is no career-ending injuries in eMLB. We will have to wait to see how long he is out. As a guy who suffered a career-ending injury with Doc Luger, I feel for you. I am sorry, GT. I know what this feels like. Can we just a moment of respect? Prayers. P&P.
Hey. Minute of silence. Just kidding. I'm not going to wait a whole minute.
I was going to say a full minute.
I was like,
You obviously have never met
this guy's no Doc Luger.
This guy is no Doc Luger, but still, I feel bad for you. I apologize for interrupting where we were at, but
that's a good breaking news. No, Commission's pulling out the random number generator.
so
252. That's a 3-year injury.
Damn, that's a pretty shitty injury for the league shitter.
Yikes.
Wait, 252 games
plus 597.
Yeah.
Over 800 days.
Okay.
Well, he'll be an assistant to the GM for 3 years.
Hey, Doc Luger still has a job in the Yankees minor league system. So this dude, his career isn't over. It's just his career as where he's at probably is.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, back to our regularly scheduled programming. I apologize.
No. That was of all the reasons to interrupt, that's probably the best. All right. Jared with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
The Pittsburgh Pirates. Speaking of Cody's old stomping grounds here. The Pirates, Barry Bonds Jr., stud, great player, but he's not going to be able to do it all, right? And Jerome Bettis definitely had a step back last year. They definitely need him to be more of the 2031 Jerome Bettis. Kenny signed a few veterans to 1-year deals to try to help fill some spots with Burrows and Ben Spears and Spitzer. That Fumitoshi Suzuki contract is still just hanging over them. I mean, that is just the gift that keeps on giving there in Pittsburgh.
Not one of Cody's finest moments.
Yeah, I mean that one's brutal.
That was still while Cody was GM, right?
I think that's why he retired.
I believe so.
or went to the A's at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's some pieces there. There's not a whole lot to think that, they're going to be competing for much more than, a 500 record, I feel like.
Their lineup is a lot better than their pitching. It's going to be similar to how we talked about Aiden's Twins. They're going to be fun to watch from both sides of the plate because there's going to be a lot of runs scored on both sides.
Yeah, if people who like to play drinking games to home runs hit might be, or to runs scored will be plastered by the end of the game. The Pirates play.
Imagine a Pirates Twins series.
Hold on, I'm pretty sure we play each other. Hold on, I'm looking at this guy.
Right now,
make
in
sure
a
you
3-game series.
It's a 2-game series. It is May 23rd and 24th in Pittsburgh. Minnesota travels to Pittsburgh. Make sure you all are stay tuned. Over under 40 runs total scored that series.
No. You're setting it too low. It's a 2-game series, you said?
52.
2-game.
52.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, 40 is a good line. Over.
One of the things I think will be interesting to watch is a guy like Jim Lowell, who could be a really interesting trade candidate.
Yeah. There's a dearth of good catchers in the league. Obviously, you either have one or you don't. A contending team that does not have one might be tempted to trade for him.
I think Steve Parkerson will also be on the move at the deadline as well. A good reliever, a really good closer. Could definitely be on the move to a contending team as well in the back end of that bullpen. Go be a good setup guy or closer for someone who's in contention late.
Does Barry Bonds get traded at some point?
I don't know if it's this year.
He was responding to the question. He's cool. He's safe. All right. Andrew with the Chicago Cubs, the mortal enemy.
Yeah, I got my rivals, although unfortunately the rivalry isn't as heated as it used to be. I
miss those days.
Yeah, not really. I'm talking more about play on the field, Aiden. So the biggest story out of Chicago is that they were trying to move, or they were at least fielding offers for the wrecking ball himself, Danny Smith Jr. He is still in Chicago. No, he did not switch to the White Sox. But it looks like new manager or new GM, Pete, is trying to get a rebuild going, but it's been really hard to dig out under the contracts that this organization had. So he's trying to do whatever he can to get himself some financial breathing room. Part of that was seeing if he can move Danny Smith Jr. Sold off a lot of pitching that had a lot of contracts to it. Jackie Roberts got offloaded in the expansion draft, so that gave some help. But Steve Randolph was gone, Paisley's gone, Noah Song is gone with free agency, and they didn't really add that much to the roster. I think they're going to be stuck in this kind of purgatory of trying to rebuild, but can't quite get the big players off the roster without taking on something to move the contracts. They're still a decent team, but I think they're heading towards rebuild. I don't know why Brendan's trying to hold in his laughter right now.
It's because I spent it on myself like a fucking baby just a minute ago.
It was so funny.
I thought I said something. I was like, did I do something crazy?
I took a drink and I was like swishing it around. I'm like, all right, I'm swallowing. I'm gonna smack my lips at the same time, and I went.
Brendan, you know what they say: spitters are quitters.
Spitters are quitters. This Cubs team, by the way, if we're talking about like personnel units that are among the worst in the league, pitching staff is fucking horrible.
Do you play Danny Smith at first to try to keep him in the lineup for like over 100 games for once?
Nah.
Yes.
Not first, maybe right or left.
The hard thing would be if you tried to do that, you really want to get Tim Lane's bat in the lineup. You really want to get Danny White, cooking again. And if you have those guys in there, you really can't do that with Danny.
That's true.
And Danny White, I mean, look at the season, his fall off from 2031 to 2032. I mean, just crazy. I mean, that really, if you saw those two guys really step up and provide power around Danny Smith Jr., that can change that lineup in a hurry.
But Danny Smith Jr. is still 26 years old.
Yep. Also, that Kenny Rodriguez contract did not look good.
You are worried about me being the one going over. I haven't gone over a single time yet.
Oh my god! All right, bitch ass motherfucker. Aiden, you're gonna go again, and you're gonna talk about the man, the myth, the sexiest man we've ever met in our lives. The Cincinnati Reds.
The Cincinnati Reds, baby.
Go Red
you
Legs.
know what? The Red Legs, led by Jimmy Potts and the boys. Jimmy Potts, Jim McMillan, Chris Daniels leading the line in that rotation. You've also got a guy named Louis Maldonado who, had an okay season last year, but he's nothing to write home about because apparently I get too excited about middling level players, according to Andrew. You look at the lineup, you've got Brian Colin left, Carlos Colmenares, who is going to get his first full season. You got a guy, anyone ever heard of this guy named Trey Griffey? I don't know if you heard of him. Pretty decent player. How about the guy named Johnny Ossington?
Wait, is that future Yankee Trey Griffey?
I think so. How about this guy named Johnny Ossington, who, I don't know, hit 61 home runs last year?
And the goal.
Hold on. Let me rephrase that one more time. 61 in Great American Ballpark.
109 over the last 2 years.
So 48 anywhere else? Which is still really good.
Can you hit mute on him? I don't want to listen to him right now. Let me finish my monologue, please. Can you mute him? But is getting a whole lot better. And JR, you are doing a great job with them. I'm not trying to hype you up too much. You also got a guy in John Captain over there. He gave you 24 bombs last year. JR, my question to you, what do you think your team's ceiling is this year? And this division is kind of, outside of the Cardinals, kind of wide open. Do you think you can compete to stay towards the top?
Yeah, I definitely think we can make it back to the playoffs. I mean, I feel like, a full season of Colmenares. I really liked adding Cole in the outfield. The corner outfield spots I struggled with last year. I think he can be a real boost there, and having the two of them at the top of the lineup with Trey Griffey and Ossington, I think can really give us a boost there. And, we'll see. I mean, there's some young arms that are coming up. McMillan, I don't know if he'll start in the opening day rotation, but he's definitely going to be ready here soon. And, there's some other guys that are, fairly solid guys. I mean, the bullpen is the biggest question mark, but that's the question mark for a lot of people, I feel like.
Yeah,
I feel like
bullpens
that's
are
just
those things people either have or don't have.
I didn't get what either of you said.
Yeah, we kind of hit the same time. Bullpen's one of those things you either have or don't have.
And I just said it's eMLB's biggest question mark as a whole.
Johnny Ossington expected to hit 783 home runs in his career.
While striking out like 4,000 times total.
Yeah. Hey, he's that guy, man. He don't care. He's swinging, baby.
Hey, he's our version of Joey Gallo.
Hey.
By the ninth inning, game time temperatures dropped 20 degrees on average in a Reds game.
Is he that guy, pal? Trust me. Is he that guy?
You're not that guy. You're not that guy.
All right. We got 2 more teams left. Aiden, why don't you go ahead and tell us about I lost my place where your team was.
I just
No,
did two of them.
Aiden did just go twice. My bad. I actually Tim, it's the Milwaukee
What kind
Brewers.
of
Sorry.
host are you?
The worst kind.
Jesus.
Tim with the Milwaukee Brewers.
So Milwaukee is in that same tradition as the Mets, the Marlins, where they had a year where everybody thought this was going to be their year, and it clearly was not. It was never bat day at the Brewers home park. They had really good pitching, but they just never could put anything together offensively. They had some real disappointments. Clyde Torkel coming in, Broccoli coming in, but then they also did some stuff with pitching. Greg Newland is a personal favorite of mine. Again, I think this is a team very similar to the Mets. They weren't as bad as they looked last year, so they were already going to get a bounce. I think the moves that they've made gives them a little bit of more of a bounce. Not quite saying they're going to contend for the division title with St. Louis still around, but they'll be close. They'll be in the conversation until at least sometime in August.
I think the big X factor for them is how Hillman comes back from his torn labrum. He's actually slated to come. I don't think he's going to be ready by opening day, but he is slated to be back early in the season. But you have to think he's going to get some rehab time in the minors. But that is the big X factor for them. If they can get the Hillman ace that they know, he can lead this team to wild card contention.
Absolutely. I also wonder if there's. I worry about Hurricane, not defensively. He's ready for that, but the offense, he's going to struggle for a year.
He's still developing, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it worth keeping him at AAA for at least a little bit while he develops the bat, or do you think the Brewers need him now?
I think they need him now to help with the pitching.
Yeah, just from a defensive standpoint.
I mean, just from a defensive standpoint, as long as he doesn't embarrass himself and has the potential, get the at-bats and help the development.
Right.
I mean, your other option is what? Mike Peake, who is a way worse defender, and his bat is basically the same, if not a little bit worse.
Yeah.
Plus Hillman, this team is actually kind of sneaky good, and I feel like much like the Mets, the hype they had going into last year might be justified carrying over to this year.
Oh, and by the way, I'm sure Jay Hill is sick of me trying to get Jackson Churro from him. I've tried to trade for him multiple times. He's like, no, I'm not letting him go. You crazy?
I also think Jay Hill is one of those guys who, like Chris in the Dodgers, who we'll talk about later, he's always active in trades around the deadline and makes those underrated moves we don't expect.
All right. We've saved the best for last. Brendan, myself.
So we're talking about the Reds again?
Well, actually, before we move on, I just want to point out, thanks to eMLB and JR, this is actually a Jackson Chourio signed baseball.
Hell fucking yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to trade for him.
Okay. All right. Brendan, with the two-time World Series champion, St. Louis Cardinals. So I still fucking hate that Bellows trade. I mean, I fucking hate it. I hate everything about it from a roster construction angle, from it's a clear downgrade in the outfield. It's a personality thing. That said, Andrew has made a habit of making these kind of trades where he will build up a team and then he will just start moving pieces just to keep the roster shuffle going. And I feel like if your success comes from the shuffle, don't stop the shuffle is kind of the mentality that the team has. I have some questions along the pitching staff. Last year's pitching staff was kind of put together with Scotch tape and Gorilla Glue, or maybe even Flex Seal from the way it held together, because it was awesome down the stretch, but I was totally unimpressed with the talent level that we still have. Allinson's injuries. What is he going to be doing? I assume he's working out of the bullpen because that's what he's doing in spring so far. It's just kind of interesting to see how it's going to go. That said, there are multiple divisions in this league that are not wide open, that have one team at the top that everyone knows who's going to win and can book it, and the Cardinals are one of those teams, so they're still going to win it. My question for Andrew is, how do you feel about your team's odds to become the third time or the first 3-time winning World Series team in the eMLB?
So, yeah, only a minute 20 to talk about this. No,
sorry.
You are right that trading Bellows is a definite hit to my roster, but I made sure that I brought in a player who can bring in at least a considerable amount of talent to replace Bellows in the outfield. Now he won't play center field, but Xavier Odom is now the Cardinals' leadoff hitter, and he doesn't have to be the guy in Minnesota. He's backed up by Royce Lewis, Shane Rodacker, Alexander Gavina. So he has pressure off his shoulders. Hopefully that means he'll be an on-base speed demon for us in left field. I ended up with the money I saved from Bellows, was able to improve at catcher with Keibert Ruiz. Even though I have a ton of catching prospects in the minors, I still need to develop them. Keibert Ruiz gives me an upgrade over Jerome Powell. And I really redid my bullpen way better than I thought I could in this offseason. I added so many pieces to the bullpen I didn't think I could.
I was going to say that's to me the most impressive part of the offseason is what you did with the bullpen there. I mean, the Fowler, Binder, and Roper, I mean, those three guys coming in there, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, I think the only three returning members of my bullpen are going to be Diaz, Lefty Littles, and Colwyn.
Fit it in, Aiden. Come on.
Oh, Sousa, right?
No.
Oh, Sousa. Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect the timer.
All right.
Do you want me to call timeout?
Yeah. I'm calling my timeout for Aiden. Aiden,
go
what do
ahead.
you got to say?
I think that this team, like we've said, is the best in the Central just because of what the rest of the Central is. I think you need this pitching staff to continue what they did last year. We talked in the Discord today. There was a lot of discourse going on. I think Allenson needs to take a step forward because I think he was shit last year. He's a shitter and doesn't deserve anything and should not be on this roster. Should be DFA'd completely. But that's besides the point. I beg to differ. Ferrari is better, but thank you very much. But continuing on past that, I really like the Odom deal because I think you got some other good pieces with it, even though you did lose Bellows. But we talked about that in the offseason episode. I think the biggest question mark for me with you will be, can your starting pitching be consistent for the entire year and stay healthy? Because again, like we talked about with the Blue Jays, I feel like every year we're talking about a starting pitching guy of yours going down with some form of injury for 4 to 6 weeks.
I don't mind running over on this team. First of all, defending World Series champion deserves to get more time to talk about him. Second, we've got to respect the big bald, beautiful head and talk about it. So, I actually, it's funny because I literally cannot read my handwriting on my own notes. So I had to improvise some of my notes here. I led off with the Bellows trade specifically because Rodecker felt, or Noble Eagle felt the need to put out an article about it. Yeah. I feel like it's a good storyline. I don't actually know if it's going to have any long-term impacts on the locker room chemistry or anything like that. And obviously Bellows gets a better opportunity out in Colorado.
He can catch now, which he wasn't going to get in St. Louis.
That said, when you look at a World Series roster and you make a clear reduction, I'm a little worried about the future. About repeat odds, at least.
I am still gunning for a back-to-back title in the 3rd and 4 years. That is not changing. However, I am well aware that my roster as constructed is not the best roster in the majors. But I was the best team once the playoffs came around.
But let's see. We'll see if he's going to pick himself to be a back-to-back winner when we get to the playoff section. But let's move on to where all these teams are going to be placed in the divisions.
Yes, division standings. Great segue, actually. Timothy, you're going to go first.
Present.
Timothy, present.
All right. Cardinals first. Reds second. Brewers third. Pittsburgh fourth. Chicago fifth. San Antonio just barely out of the NL West.
Dude. Tim, I love you so much because you can literally just copy paste yours and put it on mine.
That's exactly what I was going to do. Jeez.
Look, all I'm saying is Tim is clearly the best of us, and if I'm in line with Tim, I feel good about where I'm at.
I need you to write my resume.
Andrew.
Copy paste. I was going to do the same thing.
Jared?
I'm in the same boat, except I would put the Cubs ahead of the Pirates. I am not high on the Pirates at all. So I think there's a pretty clear line between the Cubs and the Pirates.
I'm more low on the Cubs than I am on the Pirates. Aiden, you have the floor.
Thank you, gentlemen. Number one. Actually, I'm going to go bottom up for this one. If you would indulge me, please. San Antonio Missions and Cody Koshin. They're at the bottom. They are something. They're going to hit a lot of guys. They're going to be hated. They are nothing, and they are going to be building. They are Austin Theory because nobody likes them. Then, right above them, you've got Les Chicago Cubs, as much as I hate to do that to them. Chicago, you've got one big superstar, and then you've got a bunch of nobodies. They are Judgment Day as the original iteration when it was Edge and Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest before anyone knew who Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest were. Then you've got the Pirates. The Pirates are just in no man's land. No one knows what they're doing, who they are, what they are the definition of just middling in the middle. No one knows what they are, just there. They are modern day New Day.
Aggressively mediocre.
Exactly. They are modern day New Day. Actually, you know what? No, they're not even that. They're the Viking Raiders. They're just there. They show up and they're there. Then above them, you've got the Brewers. The Brewers, they've got some young talent. They're there. What are they going to do? Who knows? They still don't excite me a lot, but they can always push towards that top end. They are Damian Priest as it stands. Then you've got the Cincinnati Reds. The Cincinnati Reds are going to make the push for the playoff. They're getting their title shot. They're getting their action. JR, this one's from you. JR and the Reds are Liv fucking Morgan, baby.
I love it.
The Cardinals are the winners. Cardinals at the top of this division. They got 2 titles. They're full of themselves. They think they're hot shit, even though they're not. They are Drew McIntyre. Still love you, Andrew.
Hey, I won 2 World Series in a week real time, so just saying.
Fair enough.
That's
and
true.
If you're wondering what he's
true.
talking about, you can check out. Oh wait, I can't free advertise.
No. I'm running this segment. Shameless plug. PPL bitches. We got the Podcast Pals League, which Andrew won the week after, less than a week after winning the MLB.
My brain's been mush ever since Aiden said Liv Morgan.
All right, gentlemen.
Tim, in post, can we get a few pictures just for audience viewing pleasure?
If I ever stop downloading them, yes.
All right, gentlemen, I think now would be a really good time to take a really short break, and then we'll come back and cover the NL West. Everybody, stick around.
Jones barbecue foot massage. Jones barbecue foot massage. Jones.
Come on down to Jones barbecue foot massage. Get yourself some good ass barbecue.
Jones barbecue foot massage. Jones barbecue foot massage.
If it's friable, we'll make. Or if it's editable, we'll make it deliciousable.
If it's edible, we'll make it deliciousable. Come on down to Jones barbecue foot massage. Jones barbecue foot massage. Yeah.
Welcome back from our brief little break here. We're going to be diving into the National League West Division. And I will be kicking us off with our perennially last place team, the Arizona Diamondbacks. So sneaky. I don't think the Diamondbacks are as bad as they've been the last couple of years. I'm starting to see a vision. I'm starting to see some pieces coming together. Bailey and Tiedemann are a really promising 1-2 next year when you get Bradford back, or not Bradford. I'm sorry.
It's easy to make that mistake with
Rutherford.
It's easy to make that comparison.
He's going to be just as good. It's going to be a really good rotation. Bailey has a long way to go towards being a really true two-way star, but he's on the way towards it. Lineup has some floor risers: Alvarez, Cisco, as well as Balcombe, even though Balcombe's kind of not lived up to the potential that we all saw he would have. I think they're going to be last in the National League West, but it will not be laughably so or as pathetically so as it was last couple of years. I guess what I want to kick to you guys is, while this team has been much maligned, do you think this team has taken some positive steps forward this offseason?
No, I don't think so at all. I think whatever tequila you've been drinking, you've had too much of it to say that you're seeing a vision here, because at this point, we talked about it at length when we talked about the winners and losers. That Yordan Alvarez contract is arbitrarily horrible. I think you do have some bright young pieces, but at this point, we've seen that
arbitrarily horrible.
It's horrible. It's terrible. It is disgustingly bad.
Whatever Englishing on that.
No, sorry. My apologies. But they've got some good young talent. But I think until how do I phrase this in the nicest way to phrase it without making people upset? Until you can cultivate relationships to be able to make trades and be able to move some of these larger contracts, you are not going to be able to succeed in this league.
All I can think about right now with Aiden's sentencing was Alexander needs to now talk about the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad Diamondbacks. No, I'll be honest. I don't think they're that bad. They do have some promise, but it's really hard to get around the fact that I think the Alvarez signing was a couple years too soon. I don't mind the contract that he was signed to, especially when 1 year got knocked off from the original one that was accepted. But I don't think this team was in the position to make that move. I think this is a move that another team makes that is poised to make a push for the playoffs. This is not some. Oh, I didn't even know how much time I had left. All right.
I'm sorry. I admit I was not holding the timer up. Finish your point, Andrew.
I was just going to say, I think another team should have made this move for Alvarez. I don't think it made sense for Arizona now. This would have been something they should have done a couple years down the road when more of their prospects were ready.
Yeah. I am going to put one bold prediction out for you guys. Arizona is the best last place team.
Okay.
Of all last place teams, they have the best record of all of them.
Okay.
And Los Doyers.
Chris, my friend Chris. Always the guy who, sneaky Chris. Andrew talked about it. Champ Bell. You're giving up a draft pick, but Champ Bell does have some injury history. A little bit of a cranky right shoulder that he's had some issues with in the past 2 years. However, he is still a good pitcher. A little bit of an expensive contract, but last year had a 2.59 ERA across 184 innings. Also, we want to talk about Champ Bell and what he brings to the table. He joins a very good rotation. You got Jim Giesler, Mike Meredith as well. He's going to do very well there, as well as Domingo Acevedo. Then you look at the lineup side of things. Dwayne Elizondo Camacho. You got Edgar Barrios, Ryan McGuire, Gunnar Henderson, who we talked about as well, who just signed for them. You got Johnny Rocca. You've got Antonio Alvarez. they've got a lot of very good players. I think we talked about it a lot. This is the two West divisions are always the hardest. And I think with the team we're going to talk about in a little bit in Colorado, they close that gap even more with these top teams. This is 4 out of the 5 teams in this division competing for the top. And I don't know what the hell is going to happen.
This is a Rage in the Cage division. This is the only Rage in the Cage division in my mind.
I think
This is the elimination chamber for all you wrestling fans.
This division has now taken over the spot from the AL West as the best division to watch.
Wow.
It's bold, but I don't disagree.
I think there's been a lot of luster come off the Dodgers. I mean, they still have some good players. I don't know that there's a ton of very good players in the lineup. Like there's a lot of solid guys, but Edgar Barrios is starting to really have a downturn. I think they're going to really need some of those guys to maybe take a step up in their game. Otherwise, you're really counting on all those guys to stay good across a pretty wide group of guys.
They're the anti-Twins. They have a very good pitching staff, but a not so good lineup.
And you need if Gunnar Henderson has a 2031 type season, this is a much better. This is a team that seems to be, if the parts all kind of do well, they could jump up significantly.
If the players that they have on the roster can find one of their past selves that had success, and they have a lot of those type of players, this will be a very good team.
Also, Dodgers have a very good farm system too.
Yes.
All right. JR with the San Francisco Giants.
San Francisco Giants. Now, I'm always a little partial with them because they've got Uncle Jerry in the rotation there. He's one of my guys, so I always kind of root for Mike and the Giants a little bit, as long as it doesn't have anything to do with the Reds. They're an opposite team from the Dodgers that we were just talking about, in a way that they are very reliant on superstars. I mean, this team is relying on their superstars to be superstars to carry them. There's not a whole lot of middle ground on this team. The Candelas, MSK, they really need him to bounce back and get the power back. He really had a big power outage in 2032. Definitely want to see some power get back there. And Dan King is a guy who was once like a really important part of that lineup, and he's just been really banged up lately. We talked about injury for some other guys earlier. He's a guy that just can't stay healthy, and I think that's taken away a little bit from their lineup. But I still really like the fact that they have elite talent at a lot of spots that are guys who, when they're playing their best, they can carry a team for long stretches, and especially once you get in the playoffs, the best is the best.
Yeah,
He talks about a soft spot for Jerry Rivera. I want to talk a soft spot about one of their role players who they just signed, and Fritz freaking Flaherty. I've got a soft spot for the guy. I really enjoy what he brings to the table, and I feel like if he can replicate what we sort of saw starting to break in with Cleveland and Kansas City in 29 and 2030, sort of a down year a little bit last year in Miami, but did show some flashes, was a league average hitter and has always played good defense. And they allowed him to 31 doubles, which was very good out of him. I think if he can continue some of that success in a bigger ballpark and showing off the gap power and the speed in San Francisco, it might be a very underrated signing that San Francisco did with him.
The biggest thing go ahead, Tim.
I think this time next year or in game, we're going to look back and say, I understand why they let Carini go, but that production is going to really be missing. They don't have anybody in that middle infield that's going to hit the way Carini did.
So real quick before the timer runs out, this team it's the same story with the Giants year in and year out. They're a couple injuries away from disaster. They have a really good top of their team, but they do not have a lot of depth after that. So if you have a couple of injuries, they're going to really struggle.
They're going to win on vibes alone. Does anyone have better vibes than Mike? I mean,
No.
He's a quintessential vibes guy.
yeah.
The only better vibes are in Cleveland.
Yeah.
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 Pretty much.
Okay. Yeah.
No.
By the way, can we talk about the articles that Sager's been putting out lately, finding those
Great
obscure
work,
stats?
Sage.
Top tier.
They're awesome.
Well,
Join the Discord, read those.
When you combine truly greatness with an ability to with time now to put out some articles.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right, Andrew.
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and talk about the Kim capital of the world, the San Diego Padres?
Yes, the Kim capital, like that. So the Padres are really interesting to me. They made a couple of trades this offseason. They no longer have Luis Salazar. They no longer have Luis Castillo. They lost a couple fringe players to the expansion draft. But I looked at their players added, and there's nothing of significance there. This team is essentially running it back from last season. Now, this was a playoff team last season. They have the Kims, Asher and Yuna. They have Mason Auer. They have Jack Lawless, all leading team, all fantastic members of their lineup. They also still have Jeff Hudson as the ace of their rotation. They have solid arms all the way around. But the question is, was it a smart decision to stand pat and not make any additions? I think that with the off seasons that some of the other teams in this division had, it's going to be really hard for the Padres to keep up the success that they've been having. These other West teams are making moves to push them out of that top spot. And I'm worried that standing pat isn't going to go well for the Padres. Now, they're still a great team for sure, but I'm worried that they didn't really do anything to address any of the potential holes that they have.
That's a valid concern. I also think at the same time, though, in this particular division, the roster is clearly good enough to win it all. Why blow yourself out trying to make moves and improve the roster dramatically when you know the roster is good enough to win the division because you've done it multiple times in a row?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And
yes,
why screw with your team chemistry too? Like, I feel like we don't know. Like, I don't know how much it impacts OOTP, your team chemistry, all that much. Because I to be honest, I don't know that mechanic all that well. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And you didn't have any bad contracts you needed to trade away, any aging veterans that you had to trade away. Allow yourself to let your farm system build up. Let yourself build a little bit. So that way, when some of these guys start to get to a point where it's, okay, they're getting older, you can use some of these prospects that you have acquired over the past 2 or 3 seasons to start building back up that major league talent again, i.e. how the Phillies have been doing it.
What's really interesting to me, though, is the fact that right now their 40-man roster is sitting at 27 players. One player more than the roster that size that you're going to have on opening day.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so
that's pretty incredible, actually.
Where's the depth coming from?
That's Royals territory, 40-man.
But yeah, so that kind of scares me a little bit.
Totally valid. All right, we saved the most interesting team in this division to discuss for last. Tim, why don't you tell us about the Colorado Rockies?
Well, they had a quiet off season. Didn't really do much.
Well, you were digging to get some stuff for this one, Tim.
Weeks. This is a team that had been sitting on a gold mine of prospects for like the last year, 2 seasons. They flipped a bunch of that for Eric Loncola, Red Ditt, Matthew Bellows. And it feels like all chips are in, but they still have plenty of good guys on the farm system. This team already had a great offense from last year. Playing in Colorado helps, but I think we all tend to kind of overrate that. I don't think there's any overrating that. I think they're going to be in Phillies territory offensively this year.
Damn.
I agree.
Pitching staff having Bellows behind the plate might help some. They're never going to be sub-3 ERAs in Colorado. You're hoping for innings. You're hoping for let's keep this team in all the games and just kind of let it figure out for itself. The pitching staff to me feels like a year away, with Jeanette and Ryan probably being the difference there.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like what they did. I love that they didn't just keep pushing prospects through in the hopes that one of these guys will hit. They're using them to get some high quality play. I'm excited to see what they do this year.
Aiden, why don't you jump in?
I think.
Oh, JR's jumping in. All right.
Yeah, I think by the time next year rolls around, even Southie, is a guy that is going to be able to really help with that rotation. So I think, to your point, Tim, it feels like one more year and this team is going to be super scary.
Yeah.
It's not like they have to worry about any of the guys they traded for leaving soon. They're not rentals. These are long-term investments in young guys.
Right. And they
think
stuff they can shop and not hurt the core of this team.
I think that Colorado, it's funny because they're similar to Minnesota in the sense that they're not going to win games 1-0. They're going to win games 12-11 because their pitching is going to let up runs, but that's the nature of Colorado. But their offense is going to lead the league in runs scored, and it's not going to be close.
I think it's more like
Heavily into
12-6 territory. All right, everyone, that's the National League West. Let's pick our standings. Jared, you're going to go first.
I'm going to go out a little bit on a limb, and I'm going with the Giants to take this division. Padres second, Rockies third, Dodgers fourth, and Diamondbacks fifth.
I'm a little irritated now that I picked you to go first.
Because it's a copy paste.
It's a fucking copy paste. Oops, all vibes. The Giants are going to win that division by double-digit games.
Ooh, I wouldn't go that far, but I like it.
This is a superstar power team, and we've seen the last couple seasons where there have been injuries and poor performance that have held back the potential of this team. I'm picking everything goes exactly the way it's supposed to go kind of season for the Giants.
And you just never know when Jerry Rollins might just get some sudden boost that really puts them up the charts a bit.
You never know when those Reds executive money is going to start hitting.
No, not for Shane Larkin.
Fuck the Cardinals. Speaking of the Cardinals, Andrew, go next.
All right. I'm gonna go from the bottom up. I'm gonna put D-backs at the bottom. I'm going to have the Dodgers in fourth. I'm gonna put the Giants in third. The Padres in second, and I'm riding the hype train of the Rockies all the way to the division championship. Yes, I fed into the hype train with the Bellows train, but I'm riding the hype train.
Actually, upon having time to think about it, go ahead and swap my Rockies and Padres. I'm going to buy in a little bit too, but I also got to keep going. I'm going to keep where I'm at.
You can't
all right,
what all you said about the Giants now.
Timothy.
Giants in first, Rockies in second. I agree that that's going to be like double digits difference between those two. Dodgers in third.
Ooh,
Padres in fourth.
Wow.
Fall from graces.
Well, no moves means you're going backwards. And I feel like Tatis is going to have a mid-30s kind of year because he's in his mid-30s, and I just don't. I think he's going to fall off a little bit, and I'm not as sold as on the pitching. And then D-backs at the bottom.
Wait, did you say D-bags?
No. But I understand your confusion.
Oh, goodness. All right. Aiden has been waiting in the wings. The lights dim. All of a sudden, the strobe. The music starts to play. And in comes Aiden. Give us yours.
All right, I'm going bottom up. I'm going bottom up for this one. Number 5. Don't come at me. I know what I got. Like a used car salesman. Putting the D-backs at 5. The Diamondbacks, Tim, I'm going to send you a clip to insert here. On a September 13th episode in 2024 of WWE SmackDown, they were in Seattle, Washington. There was this guy named Ricky who came out when Randy Orton was injured to be Kevin Owens' tag team partner. Opening bell rings. Kevin Owens hits him with a stunner, and that's the last we ever heard of Ricky. Ricky is the Arizona Diamondbacks.
He's here. Wait, he made it. He's here. Oh, good job, hey, Reggie. No offense, but stunner. Poor Ricky. Oh yeah.
Thank you for the clip.
JR's dying over there.
In fourth. Give me the San Francisco Giants.
Wow.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
I'm going out on a limb. Now I know the vibes are high. Something about it, just the bottom end is they're so reliant on the top guy. I think an injury could happen. I'm scared of an injury. I've seen it too many times. I'm a little scarred, and I've seen it too many times to the top end. The Giants, again, very top heavy, but the rest of it is like, what the hell is going on? They're modern day. Exactly, and just like the heat I'm getting from this, they're modern day Judgment Day. Top end is great with Finn Balor and Dom Mysterio. The rest of it, who the hell knows what the hell is going on with them? Third place, Los Dodgers. The Dodgers, all reliable. They're always around, always kicking. You can always count on them for a match when you need them. They're good. I like them. They're always around the title chances when you need them. But are they too far gone? They are the Bella twins. Nikki and Brie Bella. In 2.
Distracted again.
I know you are, JR. In 2, give me the Rockies. The Rockies, the young, the up-and-coming, the superstar. They are Braun Breaker. They will destroy everything in their path. They are the people to beat. And number 1, give me the Padres. They are the definition of consistency. They are amazing. They are good. They are the Heartbreak Kid. They are Shawn Michaels, baby.
I'm glad we did this division last because that was the most varied prediction that we've had out of any division.
Yep.
All right. So I'm taking over. Hold on. I'm taking over
Land
here.
this plane.
All right. Tim, it's time. Everyone look to your left. Everybody look to your right. Look down the center. It's time to fight, baby. It's time for the hot seat. I'm in it first. Let's go. Who's asking me something?
First, do me last. Just want to say that. Do me last.
That's what she said.
Yes. Second, Aiden, you picked the Giants to finish 4th. Of those superstars, which ones do you think don't succeed?
I think out of the four superstars, who doesn't? Are you saying who gets? Because I said there's an injury, or are you saying who has the worst
Yeah.
season? Just so I
Both.
understand.
Either
the question.
One of each.
Both.
Jamie, I'm going to say Ethan Candela has the injury and also has the worst season.
Okay.
All right. Who's next?
Put Andrew up there.
Andrew, tell me why you hate Buster Bluth so much.
Oh,
I don't hate Buster Bluth. I hate poor reporting.
Oh, I feel seen.
I wasn't talking about Tim.
Tim, question to you. While you were away, you got to see the reporting of your sweatshop. Oh, I'm sorry. Again, wow, something came over me. I'm sorry. Your newsroom come report. Do you think that the reports of Buster Bluth being an above-average league bat were incorrect from a news reporting standpoint?
He doesn't care.
I'm kidding.
Who the
I'm
fuck
sorry.
cares?
I'm sorry. I'm kidding. No, the real question to you. NL East has what is probably the biggest discrepancy in talent from top to bottom. Which division in the NL will have the biggest discrepancy in wins from the top team to the bottom team?
Central.
Central. Okay.
JR said he wanted to ask me a question, and I want to hear it.
I want to ask Tim. You know, we all think the Braves and the Cardinals are pretty well locked into winning their divisions. If you had to pick one of them, or Phillies and Cardinals.
Oh.
If you had to pick one of them to not win the division, which would it be?
that's a good question.
Cardinals.
That's fair.
That's
a great
logical.
fucking question.
Yeah.
All right,
Phillies are double-digit winners,
Yeah.
and I think the Cardinals will struggle to get that.
All right,
Who's
put
left?
JR. JR.
Yes.
All right. JR. Who is the sexiest wrestler on the active WWE roster?
Liv Morgan.
Thank you.
It's
Follow-up
no
question.
debate.
Follow-up question.
I could answer
Do
that.
you find it difficult to go about your day-to-day business being that fucking attractive?
Well, you know, I mean, I know I was gone for a long time, and you know, it was really tough. And part of the reason is I just had so much vag to slay out there, you know.
And I think we've got the title of the podcast.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we do.
Hey,
Brendan in the seat.
I just honesty. I believe in honesty. You know, I could make up reasons why I wasn't on the podcast. I could tell lies, but I trust you all too much.
Look, I've been out with JR in public. Women throw themselves at him. We had a waitress at a restaurant literally just fawning over him. It's ridiculous.
This is great. All right.
Slave.
Brendan, your turn.
Put me up there, but pause for a second. Okay. This is what I got left. Aiden, I need you to rapid fire me 3 questions, okay?
I've got him.
Let's go.
Flex seal or flex tape?
Flex seal, baby.
Number 2, who's going to have the least amount of wins? Marlins, Missions, Diamondbacks.
Missions.
All right. Who is going to have the highest finisher in the Cy Young voting? Mets, Reds, Rockies.
Reds.
There you have it. You asked for 3 rapid fire questions. I gave them to you.
I did.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. This was the NL predictions episode. We fired through that. We went as fast as we could. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to check out all the links in the description below. And make sure to stay tuned because coming up very, very soon, we're going to have a short, condensed, concise. Well, I can't say concise because knowing us, it's going to go on for a while. But a hopefully shorter episode giving you how the playoffs are going to shake out with our World Series winner and loser, as well as one final hot seat to kick off the 2033 season. And make sure to join us on Saturday and Sunday for the opening day festivities. For all of us here at Backfields Media, the Podcast Pals, and the eMLB Sportsnet Network, we appreciate you joining us. I'm Aiden, that's JR, Brendan, Tim Lowry, and Andrew. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. And once again, Arizona, you can suck my nuts.
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
This is in the outtakes. I'm aware of that.
Make one bigger than the other. You choose.
Exactly. Dealer. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I can tell.
He's practically bouncing.
I know.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
I always have a day-to-day abdominal injury.
I don't know
That's
what
in
my
the
abdominal
outtakes.
muscle
On the
is.
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
No, it's
Every time I have
it's the Skyline Chili.
I was just saying, every time I have Skyline, I have a day-to-day abdominal injury. Oh,
That's
this
in the
one out,
cut.
boys.
You were the one rushing us, trying to get us going early,
Yeah.
and then you're the one who's unprepared. Can you put it on the right cameras, por favor?
Blood father.
Hell no.
Hell no. Oh, hell no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no.
Oh my God. That was a hand on the wall. Like, oh.
Do you clip that? Clip that.
Oh, please put this in the outtakes. That's fine.
Yes.
Is it like the
Ugh.
Larry the Cable Guy sketch where he's talking about using the cripple stool because you got the railing for power squeezing?
I think this whole section goes in.
Please just put it in there. It deserves to be there.